Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to a Monday, and we have lots of pictures to get through, and we'll do that in a moment. While we have the Car Cost Canada logo up there, don't forget they're the main sponsor of the channel. And if you want to find out what a dealer pays for the car, this is very powerful information. So you go to a dealer's lot and you see a car there, you can find out what the dealer paid for it by just registering at Car Cost Canada. Use the promo code MOTORMOUTH. That's the name of the channel. And then you become an expert member. It opens up searches for you. And, if you don't feel like doing the negotiating, they can do it on your behalf to get you a good deal. So that's Car Cost Canada. All right. We got lots of questions always. But the first thing I want to do is get into these pictures because we got lots of pictures. Now, last week, I made a mistake. Andrea forwarded me pictures of Eric's car and said that it was somebody named Enzo. So not Enzo. Sorry, I gotta find something here. Hang on a second. Oh my goodness, what have I done? There it is. Okay, I got it back now. Enzo. So it's not Enzo, it's Eric. There's Eric from Montreal. He went by to see Josh, and Josh is a regular contributor here on the channel. And he just picked up a 996 Turbo. Look how happy he is. It warms my heart to see a young guy getting his very first Porsche. So that's Eric, and here's Eric at the park with his Turbo. I guess that's a Buddy's C4S there. Eric, you got the better one of the two. So he's got a 996, and if you don't know the difference, the Turbo has a different engine. Of course, it's not just turbocharged. It's a Metzger engine. Hans Metzger was the legendary race engineer for Porsche, and he designed the engines that were used all the way up until around 2013, I believe, was the last year. And Eric's got one in his car, and that's a really fantastic car, and congratulations to you. Next up, we have Damien with his 2019 Ram Classic Warlock with the Mojave package on it. I think that looks really good. The black and the tan, or the beigey color. I think that looks really good. Now from Germany, this is, I hope I don't screw up the name. Balaji is, I think, how you say it. He's in Germany, and he picked his car up at the Autostadt in Wolfsburg. So when you go to Wolfsburg, let me see if I can find the next one here. They're both the same picture. I think I screwed it up. Let me see if I can get another one here. No, I have the two Warlocks. Anyway, I apologize. So he picked up his GTI in Germany at the Autostadt. Now, in Wolfsburg in Germany, which is where the big factory is that makes the GTI, you can go, and they have, it's kind of like a theme park for cars for the Volkswagen Group. And you might have seen video of the two glass towers. They're kind of like vending machines for cars, and you can watch your car get pulled off and then delivered to you in the main hall. Now, he said it's changed because of COVID protocol. You're not allowed to go around and inside all of the different activities. But once COVID lifts and you get a chance to go to Germany, go to Wolfsburg, go to Autostadt, and he picked up the GTI. So I asked him, the report said it's taking a long time to get them, and he said in Germany now, if you order a car, it takes between 15 and 20 weeks for the vehicle to be built, and then you can pick it up at the factory, which is what he did. That's very cool. All right, so next up we have, this is a cool picture. This is Lawrence in Australia. He picked up an Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quattrofoglio with over 500 horsepower, and I like it in blue. You know what? Typically you see it in red, but I like it in blue. And any other pictures? I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. So we got Damien. Oh, come in. We got Eric. What's going on? Who's that?
It's the beer man.
Oh, the beer man. All right, come in. Have a seat.
You requested a Pilsner.
Yeah.
And you said it's at the back of the fridge, and there were two Pilsners at the back of the fridge. This one?
Yeah.
All right, I'll bring this one upstairs then.
Thanks, Jack. Who's winning the hockey game?
It is 1-1, and it's even shots in the second.
Any other sporting news?
The Suns.
Who won the Talladega 500?
A
NASCAR driver?
Yeah. Well, the guy, he was Brad Keselowski.
Oh,
That's
did
what
he?
it was. Yeah.
Jack's into NASCAR.
Yeah. It's I like the big crashes. Those are fun to watch.
All right.
All right, I'll pin this one.
Thank you.
No problem.
There goes Jack. All right, we got Parkside Brewery Pilsner. Give that a shot. I knew I had some extra pictures here. Okay, so this, I think, there's Eric. This is cool. Check this out. This is Jay McKay. It's a 2018 F-150 FX4 regular cab short bed. Now check this out. How cool is that? 122-inch wheelbase. It has a 5-liter V8, front and rear locking differentials, snowpack, and heavy-duty everything. Now that is cool. A short cab, short bed, F-150 with the FX4 package on it, and a 5-liter V8. Now that is cool. All right. So we had lots of pictures. If you want to get a picture through, don't forget that you can send them to zack@motormouth.ca, ZACK@motormouth.ca, or ZACK at motormouth.ca, which is the US way to spell it. All right, let's get into these questions. What is a Japanese mid-size sedan to get now? Looking for high power, mild fun, and low ownership cost. On my short list are the Mazda 6 Turbo, Accord 2-liter Turbo, and Camry XSE V6. I would run to the internet and search for the very last, and there's probably going to be a few sitting around, of the Honda Accord 2-liter Turbo manual transmission. If you could find one of those, they stopped making them for this year, so they made them up until 2020. So there might still be some kicking around. If it was me and I was looking for a fun mid-size car to buy, that would be it. Now, if you're looking at a vehicle like a higher-end version of these cars, you might also want to consider the TLX. The new TLX from Acura would be one that I would consider. Now, that's automatic only. Do you think PHEVs are bad? They do not do well on electric and still have the maintenance of a car. I'm planning on buying a Prius or Prius Prime. Thoughts? Well, interestingly, there was a study that came out in Europe where they actually did the real-world emissions and fuel economy, and most PHEVs perform worse than the numbers, and actually most perform worse than the diesel equivalent model in the European market. This study was so eye-opening to the regulators in Europe. Now there's chatter, this isn't official, that Europe might actually ban plug-in hybrids. I don't think that'll happen because the German brands are so big into it, especially BMW. But I would suggest for the Prius and the Prius Prime, I would probably just get the regular Prius. There's not much electric range in the Prime. I really believe one of the big shortfalls with these plug-ins is the range isn't long enough. It really needs to be 50 to 80 kilometers of electric range to make it usable every single day. When it's just 20 or 25 kilometers, you burn through that so quickly, especially when it's cold. So the Prius Prime is the one sort of that if you could get, not the Prius Prime, the RAV4 Prime, but you just can't get them. So I would stick with just a regular Prius, which is a great car. My brother has one, and he hyper miles the hell out of that thing and gets incredible mileage. We got a super chat. I'm all down with the super chats. Just want to say thanks for your, pointing me in the right direction on my car search. You recorded the B9 S5 for me in a live stream a while back. Picked up a lightly used CPO in August and have been loving it ever since. Cheers. So you got an S5. That's a hell of a car. I like that. Well, we're here and we're glad to help. Now, by the way, the Telluride and the Highlander comparison drops tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, the Countryman drops. And we've had a bit of a mix-up with some of our cars. I did mention the Mini Countryman would drop last week. We had a technical glitch. We had to get the car back to finish shooting it, but that's all done. And then I had a Survivor Series car that was supposed to come out last Friday, technical glitch with that. I got to go back and reshoot that. So anyway, there's lots of new stuff. And then what's coming up? Oh, Saturday we have the new Stinger that'll be on the channel. So lots of interesting stuff. But thank you for the super chat. Sachin is saying, thinking about buying a 17 GS 350. Any thoughts? It's a hell of a lot of car. I mean, there's the F Sport version, which looks really good. These things are really well made. They're bulletproof. I love the interior of the GS. I think it's really nice, and was actually one of the very first cars I remember driving when it was new that had the big screen in it. There are very few around. Now, I would hope that you would get a good deal on one because they're just not that popular. And you know, you should try and get a good deal on it, which means there's not going to be a lot of demand for it used. But if you're looking for a mid-size car, mid to large size car that's very comfortable, very well made, will run for years, that's not a bad way to go, actually. By the way, it's a Lexus. We're talking about a Lexus here. I'm still looking for a third row. I've decided to go cheaper instead of new, not waiting not wanting to go with the Kia. I've got my top picks, the 16 to 18 Ford Explorer or the 16 to 18 Honda Pilot. Which one? Just get the Pilot. In fact, just get the Highlander. Throw the Highlander in there. That's the one I would get. John is here. Good evening from the East Coast, Zach. New Santa Cruz looks good. Seems like a few similar vehicles will follow from other brands. Yeah, what's the name of the Ford one? I'm trying to remember. The Ford's going to come out with a little mini truck as well. I just don't think there's a big demand for it. I know SUVs and everything. We're all SUV crazy these days. I just don't see how there's enough room for basically half car, half pickup truck. I mean, some people will buy it. Just look back in history. Every time that these have been tried, they've never been really successful. Marky Mark, Zach, before we start, we need a sports update about the Canucks. Oh, there you go, Jack. Jack was here. We're a little bit slow on the questions. Hey, Zach, what's the one thing with the South Korean car manufacturers are doing very well and one thing they really suck at? Well, I would suggest design. I think the Korean brands are just absolutely nailing it when it comes to design. I saw the new Santa Fe drive by me today, and man, it just looks fantastic. So it's not just design. It's design and continual change. It's a bit of a detriment as well. That might be the negative. So they change their cars a lot every few years. So the Santa Fe is a perfect example. Santa Fe, I was on the launch of that 2 years ago, like the launch of and then here we are 2 years later and they've already got a major facelift. So the new one looks good, but they change their cars a lot. And I think the design, the way they're going with their looks for a lot of their cars is really quite strong. Now that could be a detriment as well in that you buy a car and you hope that it's not going to age out quickly. That's the one thing about the German brands. If you buy a car that is introduced by a German car company and you buy it the first year it comes out, that design will be in the marketplace for the most part for 7 years. So you're driving a current car for the most part for 7 years. When you have a brand that changes their design philosophy every 6 weeks, then those cars age out much quicker. So that could be a detriment. What else could they work on? Just trying to think. They're doing most things really, really well. I would say that if there's a direction that car companies should take and follow, it's the direction the Koreans are going. Continuous improvement with their designs, wonderful looking cars, great content, and good value. Adam G is here. Hi, Adam. Welcome to the show. Why can't manufacturers keep old engines in their lineup, like the new TLX, drop the V6? Well, it all is at the expense of the fuel economy gods. Every brand is chasing improved fuel economy. If you're not aware, car companies have to hit certain targets for their corporate average fuel economy. Corporate average fuel economy comes out to what's called CAFE. They're CAFE standards. So they have to meet these much stricter emission standards. And in order to do that, they need to move into more fuel efficient powertrains. That's why we've seen over the last 10 years so many vehicles adopting continuously variable transmissions. So many premium brands ditching V6s and going to turbo 4-cylinder engines. So many brands going to composite materials in the bodies, and in premium brands a lot of aluminum is being used. Then you add in plug-in and hybrid technology, and then you eventually get to a pure battery electric. So it's all because of fuel economy. I mean, V6 engines are durable, they last a long time, it's known technology, they're just not as efficient. That's the reason why. Better handling. GLA or Q3 Sportback. We don't get the Q3 Sportback here. We just get the Q3. I would say better handling would go to the GLA for sure. Hi, Zach. What does it mean when an automaker runs out of federal tax credit? Tesla, for example, no longer compared to Ford for their Mach-E right now. Okay, trying to remember what the number was. I can't remember what the number was. In the United States, you got the $7,500 tax credit from the federal government in the U.S. if you bought a car. Now, once a car maker achieves a certain number of electric vehicles that they've sold, the federal government believed that we don't need to subsidize this brand any longer because they've achieved manufacturing, basically sustainability. Trying to remember what, I think it was 1 million units overall. Could it be 1 million? Yeah, I think it was. So once a brand hits that number, the tax credit goes away. So that's what's happened. Tesla is made so many cars that they've built themselves out of that tax credit. Now, the Biden government has a massive infrastructure bill that they want to pass over about $2 trillion. And a big component of that is green agenda, and the belief is that these tax credits are going to be coming back and might even be better, and that would be for everybody, and Tesla would probably get them back. So that's all that means, is they've made so many cars they no longer qualify, where Ford has not made nearly as many electric cars, so they still qualify. All right, that's what that means. Thoughts on Mazda 3 Sport Hatch or Civic Hatchback Sport as a first car? I like the Mazda 3 Hatch a lot. The Civic Sport Hatch is fantastic, and also I would throw in there the Corolla Hatchback is fine as well. Now, if you're driving an automatic transmission car, the Mazda 3 automatically is going to be maybe a little bit more fun because it has a conventional 6-speed automatic transmission. The Honda Civic has what's called a continuously variable transmission. Now, both are available with manual transmission, and so is the Corolla hatchback. So, if you... Everyone's going to laugh at me because I always mention this. You probably know me if you know where I'm going, if you know me well enough. If you can afford the higher end trims of those cars, you might as well consider a GTI, right? The Volkswagen Golf GTI is available with a manual, and it's available with a dual clutch transmission. That's one hell of a first car to own. Really is great. So, in my world, I would say just based on the transmission alone, I would go Mazda 3. But if you're thinking about trying the Honda, go for it. But if you can afford it, get a GTI. Daniel's here from the East Coast. Good that you're here. Keith is here as well. Barrick, you weren't first today, man. You're always first. Between the new Mach-E and the Tesla Model Y, which one would you get? I haven't driven either, to be honest with you. My neighbor right across the street from me has had a Mach-E for 2 months. It's bright red, and it's sitting right in front of my house. And I emailed a kind of a cheeky email to Ford PR today, and I said, hey, when are we getting a Mach-E? My neighbor's had his for 2 months. I don't know the guy that well. He has only moved in a little while ago, or else I'd go borrow it from him. But there you go. What's your take between the Outlander and the Nissan Rogue? So these are both built on the same platform. You're probably aware of that. They have the same engine and transmission. However, the Outlander is just a little bit bigger. It's 6 centimeters longer. The track, the wheels side to side are just ever so slightly wider. However, the wheelbase remains the same. Now that 6 centimeters of extra length in the body is to make room for the third row of seats. So if you don't need the third row of seats, the Rogue might just be fine. If you do need that third row on occasion, well, then it's going to be Outlander. I would suggest that the high-end trims of the Outlander probably are fancier on the inside than the Rogue. I liked both of them. I thought both of them were very good. In fact, if you watch this channel regularly, I even said that the Rogue was one of the best cars I drove last year. And I would say the Outlander's in there as well. I think the Outlander's a little quieter. I think they did a little bit more with the insulation. Both of these are fantastic choices. Once again, it comes back to continuously variable transmission and whether you want that or not. If you don't care, go and drive them both and pick the one you like. I think they're both fantastic choices. Went to Car Cost Canada, got the dealer costs for Range Rover Sport, made an offer to my local dealer on March 7th. The salesman laughed at my face, only to call me on March 28th to accept my offer. It's the power of knowledge. So back to Carl, it popped up there. Car Cost Canada. Please sign up using the promo code Motormouth. That's the name of the channel. You become an expert member. Now, I'm going to put this question back up again because this brings up a very good point. And this is part of the negotiating tactic. The fact that you know what the dealer paid for the car is very powerful. So in this case, you made an offer for the car and then you walked away. And then the guy, it's the 28th of March. What's happened? He needs to hit a sales target at the end of the month. So he's got a couple of days left until he has to meet his sales target. He's like, I got a live one on the hook with this car cost. I'm going to call him up and see if he still wants to buy the car. Well, who's the smart one now? It's the viewer of the channel. And dealers will make deals at the end of the month just to move extra iron so they can hit their targets. So good for you. But you would only know that because you signed up at Car Cost Canada. Now, if you don't want to go through that process and you feel like it's not really in your DNA to negotiate that hard, you can contact Car Cost Canada. They have the customer service number. If you're a member and you say, hey, I'm looking at a Range Rover Sport. This is the spec I want. I've got a dealer in my neighborhood. I don't really want to go and deal with them. Can you do it for me? They can help broker the deal. So just think about that. And he says again, guys, the car cost thing is real. Make sure to use it. Well, there you go. I don't know, Vipul, but go for it. Hey, Zach, who would you say is the best all-wheel drive out there? Well, there's different ways of looking at all-wheel drive. I mean, Subaru always gets pulled in because of their symmetrical system, which does make a difference in certain circumstances. Now, when you get into the high-end cars, there's some excellent all-wheel drive systems. It depends what you're using it for. Like, is it for a truck? Is it for just everyday driving? I mean, most cars that have what I call a rear bias all-wheel drive system are my favorites. But I would say probably for mainline cars, if you're just talking about average everyday cars, Subaru. I think that the Hyundai Kia all-wheel drive system is very good. It is a Magna-derived all-wheel drive system. Magna is the Canadian parts supply company that makes the all-wheel drive system for Genesis, for Hyundai, for Kia, and for BMW. It's a very good all-wheel drive system, and I would put that up against most as well. So those are good ones as well. Hey, this is Bruce saying, I'm 9 weeks tomorrow for my Telluride order. Kia Canada advised me I'm 4th in the queue. Could be 12 weeks to get. Brown leather might be part of the timing, so sick of black. Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there are major problems in the supply chain for a lot of industries, not just the auto industry. The big one is the chip shortage. It's hitting Stellantis or FCA or Chrysler, if you like, and it's hitting Ford hard. It's also hitting brands all across the globe. Some brands not so much. So you have that issue. Then I heard there's an issue with foam. There's a foam shortage for seats. So supply chain issues are a big deal for car companies. The other thing you got to contend with is your Telluride is coming from South Korea. So then you got to ship it across the ocean, get it on a train and ship it to wherever you are, Bruce. So if you've ordered the car and you like the car, just wait. I mean, it seems like forever when you're waiting for your new toy to arrive, but a month goes by pretty quickly. I know you're not the biggest fan of Tesla, but they are the aspirational brand to people now and made EV mainstream. Do you think the Germans will catch up to Tesla and EV tech and stay on top? Well, it's not that I dislike Tesla. I think Tesla has done exactly what you've mentioned. They've made electric vehicles aspirational. They have made electric vehicles mainstream. They've made all of the other brands sit up and take notice, not just for electrification, but for things like large screens, over-the-air updates, autonomy, and a lot of the things that they've done with their cars. What I'm not a big fan of is Elon Musk's shooting from the hip style, saying things that really aren't truthful, having to walk them back, or just out and out not being truthful, saying things are going to happen and they never do, or they just take years to come. So that's my issue. It's just the way the company is run. They do nothing for the automotive industry that I'm in. They just look after themselves. There is no PR department for me to even email to get a car. They have decided that they don't need people like me to talk about their cars. What will happen when all of these big brands come on board? Now, there's something to pay attention to. Toyota electric SUV. Okay, so we're talking about the biggest car company in the world. Toyota make over 10 million cars a year. They have now turned their sights toward electric cars, and they've turned their sights towards solid state batteries, and they have obviously production capacity all around the globe. So yes, Tesla is market leader and they have a big market share, but when we haven't even really seen the big thrust from the big brands. I'm not sure if you're aware that last week Cadillac Lyriq was shown with its final starting price. The Cadillac Lyriq SUV is being sped up by 9 months. It's going to be available for order this fall, and deliveries will start next year of their mid-size luxury SUV, and it starts at $60,000 US with over 400 miles of range, I believe. Off the top of my head, don't quote me on that, but I believe it's around there, and it's $59,000 in the Canadian market. If you follow this pattern of what General Motors has done with the Bolt was announced. The new Bolt hasn't arrived yet, but it's going to be arriving any day now. They dropped the price in Canada by $8,000. They dropped the price in the US $5,000 because of our Canadian dollar. So that shot basically a shot across the bow of Tesla. So if you're wanting to go for mainline car brand like Chevrolet, making their electric car that inexpensive, and wait till you see with the incentives what these things are going for. For example, in the Quebec market. No, in the market I'm in Vancouver, that would make the car $30,000. In the Quebec market, it'll be $23,000 for a brand new Chevy Bolt. That's crazy. Okay, so they're doing the same thing with the Lyriq, the Cadillac that's coming out next year. $60,000 for a Cadillac SUV. I think it's 400 miles of range is a big deal. This car is coming next year to Japan and to the Chinese market, and then it'll be coming to North America. Now, Toyota has an ability to make fantastic products, highly reliable, and with amazing resale value. Then you throw in the Volkswagen Group with the ID family in China last week. That's when this was shown at the Shanghai show. They showed their larger ID.6. So that's their 3-row utility that's fully electric. So the onslaught of electrification is just getting going against Tesla. So yes, they have the market lead now. They're going to continue to have the market lead. Even when all these brands come online, they're not going to go from 80% market share down to 20. No, they're probably going to go from 80% market share down to maybe 50%. Now, most companies would love to have 50% market share, but it's not going to be at the lofty levels that they're at now forever. That's just my opinion. I could be dead wrong. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Evan Katz from New York. Hey, Zach, thinking of replacing my boring SV Crosstrek. It's not that bad. With a 2020 Mazda CX-30. What do you think? All the best to my main man, Jack. That was Jack in here with the sports report. I think that the CX-30 Turbo especially is a great choice. However, try the new Crosstrek with the 2.5 liter. You might like that too. The outdoor model is pretty nice, but you might just be bored of the car. I think the CX-30, especially if the turbo, would be a good choice. Hey Zach, what would be your used luxury car for $50,000? What would you have to drive daily for 5 years? A question from Car and Driver YouTube video. A $50,000 car that I would have to drive daily for 5 years. Is this a sedan or a utility? I'd have to think about that for a second. I'd have to really think about that because it would easily be just to blurt something out. But if I really thought about it, leave it with me. I'm off the top of my head. I can't think of something right this moment. Did I miss a super chat? I did. I've been talking away. There we go. Jerome is here. Hello, Zach. Did you reckon we should let FCA break the 4xe product and the diesel engine before shopping for these? Thanks. Do you think we should let FCA break the 4? I think what you're getting at, Jerome, is the Wrangler plug-in, and whether you should go for that or the diesel. I'm not quite sure. If you could, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I apologize. And that's a super chat. So retype it again. Jerome, please. Not the super chat, just add it again. I'll get back to you. Oh, wristwatch check. What am I wearing? Oh, I'm wearing my Rolex Sea Dweller today. Sea Dweller. That was my first luxury watch. You know what? I bought this. I sold my Carrera, my 993 Carrera, and I said to Andrea, I sold it in the Great Recession, right? When the world went sideways. I'll tell you the day, right around when I sold it was when Michael Jackson passed away. I remember listening to that on the radio when I was driving to meet somebody to sell the car. I sold it, and I got all my money back. That's the nice thing about air-cooled 911s. I basically sold it for what I paid for it. But I said to Andrea, I'm going to buy a fancy watch, and she said, go for it. She got a new kitchen later, though, so it worked out pretty good. I mean, we both got a new kitchen. I got to figure out where I was. Where was I? I gotta go back to. Hey Zach, what would be your luxury car? Okay, I'm gonna tell you what my daily driver would be if I could find one, and I could get one for $50,000 probably. Yeah, no problem. And it was just me driving it. I didn't have to share it with anybody, and I didn't need an SUV. I would get an E39 M5, a BMW E39 M5. It would be expensive to get a really, really nice one. But a BMW E39 M5 would be just a fantastic daily driver, in my opinion. Do your children play Forza Horizon? No, they don't play any. They play. What's that one where they steal the cars? I sound like an old guy. Grand Theft Auto. Dean is saying, greetings from Winnipeg. Is Toyota's resale value so good versus other brands like GM? What are they doing that other car manufacturers aren't doing? Well, resale value is a function in specific cars of availability, if any rebates were put on the car, how many are available in the used market 3-4 years later. So oftentimes you'll get a car that they didn't sell a lot of new. So 4 or 5 years later, there's people looking for them. A perfect example is a Toyota, is the FJ Cruiser. The FJ Cruiser still pulls huge money because there weren't a lot of them sold new, and now used, people really, really want them. So those are specific kind of one-off cars, right? There are not many around. and so on. Like, say, for example, a BMW 3 Series station wagon with a manual transmission, right? So 6, 7 years later, there's going to be a one nerd like me looking for that car. And then when it pops up, it's like, oh my God, I have to have it. And you got to pay for that, right? Now, when you're talking about just generally cars, like all the Toyotas and all the General Motors, brand equity is built by decades, not just years, decades of brand loyalty in the marketplace. So Toyota has built over decades loyalty from their customers for providing high quality cars with great reliability, a known entity, meaning that there are people who want to buy them at the end, and that creates high demand in the used market, which creates high residual values. Now, because the vehicles are very well made and they're very reliable, and people know that, when they go to buy the car new, there aren't a lot of rebates on the cars. They have their red tag days or whatever they're called, red flag, red tag, their Toyota days, whatever. And they sell the cars and they put a bit of a discount on them. But you're never going to see on a Toyota the huge discounts you get from especially a lot of the domestic brands. Those discounts really hurt the residual value years down the road. So Toyota, not only for the last few years, but for decades, have producing high quality cars that are reliable. They just keep going and get passed on to other family members. They're desirable in the marketplace. People want to buy them used because they know even if they buy a used one, it's still going to be reliable. And that has helped keep the residual value very, very high for Toyota. General Motors doesn't have that luxury. They have specific models that will be desirable, like the first year C8 Corvette that came out, last year. Guys who bought those, trust me, in 4 or 5 years, they're going to be able to get a good chunk of their money back because there's just so few of them sold. So hopefully that explains it. Will you be reviewing the Jeep 4XE? Do you think it'll be disappointing hybrid like the X3? I don't know why anybody would want a plug-in hybrid Wrangler. I don't get it. I mean, it wouldn't be my choice. I want to see if... There's Jerome asking again. I mean, break in as we should let them fix potential early problems. Sorry for my bad English. Don't feel sorry for apologizing for your English at all, because my French is ferme la porte. That's about all I know. Because the only reason I know that is because in French class in grade school, I sat at the back and the French teacher always used to tell me to close the door. Yes, you're absolutely right that it's probably not a bad idea for a new technology car to let it sit on the shelf a little bit before you jump in and buy it. Now, they do have hybrid technology that they have been using in the Pacifica for several years. And the Pacifica hybrid, if you've never driven it, is an amazing machine. They did a very, very good job with it. It is very well done. I thought the first time I ever drove it, it's going to be some sort of hack job. It's going to be herky-jerky. No, it is really well done. In fact, we're getting a Pacifica soon on the channel. So your basic gut instinct is correct. I wouldn't be in a rush to go out and buy a Wrangler with electric powertrain. I just don't have an urge for that vehicle. I don't understand why it would be possible, and I can't remember if I've seen the price on it or not. Wouldn't be anything I'd be interested in, put it that way. Oh yeah, here's Dion was saying the new truck from Ford is called the Maverick. That's right. I was trying to remember. So they're going to have a small ute, kind of like the Santa Cruz as well. Got to find where I was again. Hey, Zach, here in America, Telluride is appreciating in value. A Telluride with 20,000 miles on it is selling for $55,000. That's crazy. So we have, if you don't follow the automotive news that closely, there's a bunch of stuff going on all at the same time. So first and foremost, the American economy is opening up with, I think it's about 60% of adults in the US have now been vaccinated. Okay. The next 40%, there's going to be some in there that just don't feel like they want to do it. So that's going to be an issue. But we're seeing states opening up totally, Texas, Florida, and more states are going to open up. The demand for new cars is absolutely through the roof. Now, on the other hand, we've got these chip shortages. We've got supply constraints for other materials in cars because everything got shut down last year because of COVID. And now there's a back order of all of these components that is affecting cars. So if there's one microchip missing from a car, they can't finish the car. So there's a big shortage of cars being made. Plants around the world are being idled for weeks at a time. Subaru had to idle a plant for a week in Kentucky. Ford has had to idle plants. Stellantis have had to idle. This is happening all over the world. So just as, especially in the United States market, there's been a big boom for new vehicles, the availability is in the crapper. Then you add on top of that, as the economy opens up, rental car fleets are almost down to zero. There's stories of people renting U-Haul box vans because the cost to get a rental car is astronomical. So what happened with the big rental fleets is they sold all these cars off. Their fleets were very small. People weren't traveling. Everybody was staying home. Now the economy is starting to open up. So these car factories that are struggling to make cars now have to fill the orders for budget and whomever. And then they've got to make cars for all these other things. And then on top of that, the used car market has absolutely exploded. So people are like, I can't get a new car. Let's look at a used car. So we have this COVID effect for used car prices. Used car prices are all coming up. Then you get on top of that a hot model like the Telluride. I can totally see that someone that's sitting in a year-and-a-half-year-old Telluride and they put 20,000 miles on it, saying I can sell it for what I paid for it. The problem is you got to replace it. You got to find something else. So that's what's going on in the car market. We bought a car last September, October. I could probably sell it for the same, if not more, than I paid for it 6 months ago. It's just crazy out there. So all of these things are piling on top, and this isn't going away. So the opening up of the economy and the post-COVID effect, hopefully post-COVID effect, is going to expand. Not only in North America, but in other jurisdictions. In Canada, hopefully, and certainly it's already happening in Europe. China is already way ahead of this. China's demand has shot through the roof after COVID. So this supply shortage thing they're saying is going to take all of this year to catch up. So don't expect big deals on cars. I'll tell you that right now. Just bought a new Venza. What do you think of it so far? So far, I love it. I think it's a great product. I think it's really good. I'm glad you enjoy it. It's basically a fancy RAV4, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad you like it. Orlando is saying Subaru Forester Honda CR-V Limited versus entry Q3 GLA X1. What do you think? Regards from Peru. The Q3 GLA and X1 are all kind of one size smaller, right? So you got to remember those are the small SUVs, and the Forester and the CR-V are what are called compacts. So basically, back to you. Do you need the extra space of a Forester or a CR-V? If you don't, I think the Q3 is the one to beat in that category, and I would probably get that one. Do you think that the 2022 QX60 will be the savior for the Infiniti brand? Well, it all rests on that vehicle. So if you're not aware, the QX60 is the best-selling Infiniti. Okay, that's the one they had to get right. Now, by the first looks of it, it sure looks damn good. New 9-speed automatic transmission. The same thing they've done with the Pathfinder. They share a common platform. So then we have to get into the interior technology, and if they've been able to update it. If they throw in the old screens and everything that they have, it's not going to be pretty. If, however, they have some new in-dash tech, and we haven't seen the interior yet, that will definitely help. So products get brands into trouble, and products get brands out of trouble. So one thing that they've done is they've left these vehicles to rot in the market for far too long. So coming with something new and their best-selling model will help a lot. Hey Zach, what is the biggest CVT issue that you know of? There's really no issue with the CVT. Some have reliability issues, and you're asking about the Outlander and the Rogue. Now, everybody says, "Oh, those CVTs are crappy. They're more problematic." All I can tell you is, having driven the new Rogue and the new Outlander and the new updated version of these transmissions, they definitely perform a lot better. There is a sensation with continuously variable transmissions when you really push the gas, you're merging onto the highway, and the engine makes all this noise, and the car isn't really doing much, and then it all of a sudden sort of surges forward and catches up. That is that CVT effect that a lot of people dislike. In everyday situations, when you're just driving it normally, you have no idea it's even there. The new updates they've done with those two products, I think, is fine. What I suggest to you is go and try it. See what you like. Hey, Zach, any idea when the North American reviewers will see the A3, S3? I have no idea. I mean, it's not exactly like they're forthcoming with much information. And back to this whole shortage thing, I have no idea. Put it this way. I have been on the phone, I've been on the phone and emailing car companies like, where the hell is this car? How come we don't have it yet? When is it coming? And we're not talking about cars that are supposed to be coming way in the future. I'm talking about cars that are for sale right now. I haven't got the new Santa Fe yet. I don't have the new Tucson yet. I don't have the new Mach-E yet. I don't have the new Nissan Kicks. We're still waiting. There's so many cars what we're still waiting for. So I have no idea. I think all bets are off now about what the availability is going to be. Car brands are basically making it up week to week. Why doesn't the Clarity do better, the PHEV? Now, Grant, I'm hoping your eyesight is good, because have you seen the Clarity? I'm sure you have. I'm joking. It's just ugly. I think that's why it doesn't sell. The Honda Clarity is a big car. It's bigger than the Honda Accord. It's really nicely equipped on the higher. They have two trims. The higher trim is nicely equipped. It drives really well. It's got excellent range on the plug-in component. It's over 60 kilometers off the top of my head. I seem to remember that. So it's got good range, a big car, lots of room, nicely equipped. It's ugly. And it's a sedan. And everybody wants an SUV. I think it's because it's ugly. Hey, Zach, why does Hyundai put CVTs in their internal combustion cars, but dual clutch in their hybrids? Seems backwards to me. Don't CVCs save more gas? Okay, so there's different ways that you can do continuously variable transmissions. There's different ways you can do hybrids. Okay, so there's a parallel system, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing. The way they do it is they stick the electric motor between the engine and the transmission. That's where they put the electric motor. So they can use an already efficient dual clutch to turn that electric motor on and off. Okay, that's how they do it. Other brands do it differently. It's kind of complicated, the differences between the two, but that's the main reason, is that they have the electric motor sandwiched between the regular internal combustion engine and the transmission, and that's how they're able to use it. The same thing with Ford with the Explorer. They use a similar system, and it's actually the one I prefer to drive. You get around that CVT feel, plus you get a hybrid car. Did you see Bill Nye's endorsement of the Taycan? Didn't know it had 2 gears. Can you talk about EVs with gears? There was Andrea tapes the Today Show every day, and they had Al Roker on Earth Day with Bill Nye on some island in the New York boroughs, and Bill Nye's on there. But then he's wearing like this full nylon, Gore-Tex jacket, and it's like, okay, Bill Nye, you're Mr. Earth. Why are you wearing a jacket that's made basically from plastic? For me, these guys, it's the hypocrisy, right? That's what bugs me about these people that are pounding on you're doing everything wrong and you're bad. But don't look at me. I mean, I can't tell you, as somebody who flew all the time, like every week, how many times I saw David Suzuki at the airport, Mr. Save the Planet. Oh, but by the way, can I get a free upgrade into business class? I've seen him there many times, lying in his pod in a 777 or Dreamliner, flying across the country. Hey, Mr. Save the Planet, if you want to save the planet, telecommute. Get on a Zoom call. You don't need to fly to your conference and charge $100,000 for a speaking fee. It's the hypocrisy that drives me crazy. Meanwhile, David Suzuki's got 3 or 4 houses here in British Columbia and like 6 kids or something. I mean, that's what bugs me about these people. Oh, I feel so much better now. Thank goodness. Bill Nye, I'm glad he figured out the Taycan's got 2 gears. Hey, it's Enzo. Enzo. People whose leases are almost up should highly consider looking at buying a car back. Residual value set 4 years ago doesn't reflect today's used market with the pandemic. Dealers benefiting and laughing. Eric brings up a very good point, or Enzo. This is very true. I actually was on Auto Trader today looking up the value of our Porsche Cayenne. And I was telling Andrea, I said, these cars are just like, the prices are astronomical. And he's absolutely true. So the residual value of your car, maybe set 3 or 4 years ago, when you give the keys back, the dealer has an opportunity to buy that car at the predetermined price that was set 3 or 4 years earlier. But the market for used cars has come up. So we have a regular viewer of the channel who's wanting to buy a high-end SUV here in the Vancouver area, and he was messaging Andrea and myself on Instagram asking what he should do with his 2018 Audi Q5. And I said, well, go to the dealer and see what kind of trade-in you're going to get. You might be surprised that they're going to give you more money than you think, because the value of the car has actually gone up in the last 6 months or so. So Eric's absolutely right. If your car is coming towards the end of the lease, you might be wise to buy it and then sell it yourself in the market and maybe save some money. Or work with the dealer and say to them, I have this car, the buyout is $20,000, but I see them all for sale for $25,000. Are you going to give me some money towards my next lease? You can do that as well, but it's a very good point. Nice to see you again. What are your thoughts on the hydrogen fuel technology? I have driven the Nexo, the fuel cell car from Hyundai. A great looking vehicle. I wish they made it as a regular gas and hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and a fuel cell, because it's a good looking car, really nicely finished on the inside. The problem is it's way too expensive. I think it's 85 grand or something. It's crazy. That's the problem. What's the price going to be and where are you going to fill it up? But it works. The technology works. There is a video, I believe, on the channel of the Nexo. Check it out. Hey, Zach, do you know of any of the Kia or Hyundai replacement engine giving problems? So these are older cars. I don't know of any issues. I think it's been ongoing for the last couple of years. You're better to go to a forum, a Kia or Hyundai forum, and see what people there do. What they say, I should say. How good or reliable are the Mitsubishi, even though the Subaru CVT transmissions offer an extended warranty? How good or reliable are the Mitsubishi, even the Subaru CVT transmissions? Would an extended warranty be needed on these cars? Okay. I'm a big believer in buy the car and enjoy it and don't worry so much. Like, your car is under warranty for 3 or 4 years. In the case of a Mitsubishi, the car has a 10-year warranty. Like, everybody is so freaked out about, oh, this and that. Just buy the car and enjoy it. When the car gets toward the end of its regular warranty, then you can say to yourself, you know what, I'd like to have this car under warranty, and then you can buy an extended warranty at that point. You know what, there was a woman who emailed me. She had a Mazda CX-5, and she had the car for 2 months, and the transmission was faulty. They absolutely agreed, and they changed the transmission for her, and she was like, I want them to buy the car back. I don't want this car anymore. It had a faulty transmission. It's a piece of crap. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. They are not entitled to buy the car back from you. They're entitled to fix the car, which is why you have a warranty. I said, the car's 2 months old. It now has a new transmission in it, and it still has the warranty for, the time that it's, entitled to be covered. I said, don't worry. You have a good car. The CX-5 is a great car. Enjoy it. Don't worry so much. And this is what I think. I'm not a big worrier about stuff like that, especially with brand new cars. If you are thinking at the end of the regular warranty that you want to have more coverage, buy it then. Do not buy it when the car is brand new. I think I missed another super chat. We got a lot of people on today. Holy crap, 350 with only 80 thumbs up. Okay, and the remaining time we have here, I'd like to get the thumbs up to 200. Could we do that? Do you think we could do that? So there's 350 of you on board right now. So give me the thumbs up. That would be really good. We'll answer some more questions here. We did get a super chat that I missed. Cheers. I love it. Thank you for that, sir. To get back to where I was. What do you have against Hyundai? I got nothing against Hyundai. Who said I had anything against Hyundai? I like Hyundai. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, we're at 155. Only 45 more to go. I want 200. Come on, you guys can do it. There's 350 of you on here. You can slam that thumbs up. Get me to 200. Hogtown Biker says, we will see what happens with Tesla. They make most of their money selling carbon offsets to other manufacturers, which will start to dry up. So that is true. Companies like FCA or Stellantis selling those big Hellcats, they have to offset those carbon emissions by buying credits. And Tesla, in the last annual report, if you took those carbon credits away, they weren't a profitable car company. And a lot of people have been saying that Tesla isn't a profitable car company just based on selling the cars. So this is all of the stuff that they have to deal with as they move forward with these mainline brands coming on board. Josh is saying, my friend got a 2021 F-150 and has had 20 on order for his fleet and got only 2. And one of them needed a new chip after 3,000 kilometers. It would not start. All others still on back order. You know what? If you have a used car, thanks for the update, Josh. I appreciate that. If you have a used car and you've been thinking of selling it and you're kind of on the fence, now is the time to sell a used car, especially if it's in good shape and it's not that old. The world is your oyster. The values of used cars are absolutely shooting through the roof. And anything that's interesting, unique, and fun, a sports car, for example, highly desirable. So, no, don't sell something you might regret selling. But if you've had something and you don't use it much anymore and you're thinking of selling, the market is just on fire. Marky Mark, why is it that every manufacturer has to have autonomous driving? Is it only because of Tesla or not, or EV in general? So I would suggest that autonomous driving is not dominated by Tesla. They have mostly a camera-based system. Other brands use more sophisticated systems. I think the only one that is absolutely, that I've driven that is a total hands-free system is the Cadillac Cruise system. You can drive down major freeways and highways and not touch the wheel at all. You can do it with Tesla, but we've seen all the accidents that have happened over the last little while. So you still are supposed to have your hands on the steering wheel. Cadillac system is really quite advanced. Now, they are going to have legislative hurdles to get their fully autonomous system to market. The average consumer on the street, all of the surveys show, are not asking for autonomous cars. Car manufacturers are going down this road, but people really aren't looking for that. It's nice to have semi-autonomous systems that take over in situations like mundane bumper-to-bumper traffic jams, but most people still want to drive their car, and most humans are better at driving their car than a robot. Every system I've ever driven, I'm a better driver than the computer. What they do is take over when you're not paying attention, and that's where they save a lot of lives. But we can have a lot of advanced safety systems that can do that without having to take over the car fully. It's going to be interesting to watch. Okay, we just need to get 11 more people to hit the thumbs up to get me to 200, and then I'll sleep well tonight. You guys can do it. Come on. There's only 3 thumbs down. There's 3 people out there who thought they would be funny. Haha. I just need 11 more. Come on, you guys can do it. Oh, here's Jerome saying, I just bought a Wrangler Sport S and saved $2,700 using Car Cost Canada. It's money in your pocket, folks. Well, there you go. I appreciate that. Make sure you sign up using the promo code MotorMouth and become an expert member. Here's another one. I used Car Cost Canada back in 08-09. It was great, and one of them was a prearranged discount, which made it easy. It's true. If you don't feel comfortable using the service and negotiating on your own, they have people there that can do that for you. Hey, we made it to 200. We're at 206. Don't stop. Keep going. I just want to say thanks to everybody that sent a message through. We had lots of pictures this week, which was great. We had Australia. We had Enzo's new 996. We had a short wheelbase, short box, short bed F-150 with a V8. How cool is that? If you want to get your picture through, it's Zack@motormouth.ca, ZACK@motormouth.ca, or ZACK@motormouth.ca if you're from south of the border. We're having fish tonight. I like fish. You might not like fish. So tomorrow, the Kia Telluride and the Highlander comparison drops. Wednesday, it's the Mini Countryman. Friday, I think it's going to be the Corvette Z06, the yellow one that we had technical issues with. And then on Saturday, it's going to be the new Stinger. So lots going on the channel. Thanks to everybody who hit the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. We will be back next week. And thanks for watching, and we'll chat then. Bye now.